welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Talia E. Today's video I am super excited about because I am doing a video on my favorite musician slash singer of all time, and it is D'Angelo. You guys, I have finally gotten all of his studio albums on vinyl. So yeah, you guys know I had to do a whole separate video on all of his albums since I have finally reached my goal. I've been collecting since 2015, and yeah, I've been waiting to finish his collection for years now. We're gonna get right into this video, guys. I'm so excited to talk about D'Angelo. I can talk about him all day. Oh, and the shirt I have on right now with his face on it, it is by this Instagram seller. Her name is Hello It's V. I will leave her linked in the description box if you guys like R&B inspired band tees. I really wanted to wear my Voodoo anniversary t-shirt that I got last year from his Versus merch. It was like a limited edition t-shirt for the Versus battle and for the anniversary of the Voodoo album. I can't wear it in this video because of the lighting situation. It's a white t-shirt, so it's really making my footage a lot darker. But yeah, we're going to get into all the albums later on in this video, but first I want to start off by giving you guys an introduction on D'Angelo and how I became a fan of his. So if you guys don't know who D'Angelo is, he is a singer, songwriter, producer, and multi-instrumentalist. His instruments range from guitar, piano, bass, drums, saxophone. I've even seen him play the double bass before. So yeah, guys, he plays so many instruments. He's a 4-time Grammy Award winner. He's been nominated many times, and he came out in the 90s, you guys. He did a little writing before he dropped his first album, Brown Sugar, in 1995, and he is from Richmond, Virginia, you guys. He grew up as a pastor's kid. His grandparents had their own church as well as his parents, so he was a real PK. So you guys know he has some vocals. Y'all know preachers' kids are like the best vocalists of all time, so he has that gift. And some of his biggest influences are Marvin Gaye, Sly Stone, Funkadelic, George Clinton, Parliament, and Prince. His #1 influence is Prince, so yeah, you can definitely hear that in his music as well. He's a huge Prince fan. Even though he has many influences, he does have his own sound. That's why I love his music so much, because you can tell he takes from the past, you know, all the greats from the past, but he also adds a futuristic approach to his music and his own sound. So that's like my main thing about his music. He's just so unique, but also, you know, old school at the same time. Another thing I love about D'Angelo's music is that he uses a lot of vintage equipment to record his music. He uses things like analog tapes and old pianos. A lot of people try to put him in the category of being a neo-soul singer, but I feel like he's one of those artists you can't really put into a box. He's like a mixture of things. He's like soul, funk, rock, gospel. I've actually always knew about D'Angelo since I was a kid, because I always heard his music on the radios and, you know, at cookouts and barbecues and stuff like that. And I only knew 3 songs by D'Angelo, and those songs were Lady, Brown Sugar, and Cruising. So when he dropped his album Black Messiah in 2014 in December, he was like trending all over Twitter. So yeah, I was just on Twitter browsing and I saw his name trending, so I clicked on it and I found out he had just dropped a new album, Black Messiah. So when I saw it on Twitter, I was just like, oh, okay, D'Angelo from the 90s, Brown Sugar D'Angelo, I remember him. That's cool, he just dropped an album. But I just went on with my day. I didn't really try to check out his album or anything like that. I just thought it was cool that somebody from the 90s was coming back. Later on that day, I was on YouTube and I saw this commercial promoting the album, and it was like this little snippet of the song Really Love from that album. And I don't know, I just got chills when I heard it. Yeah, I was like, I definitely have to listen to the album. I got chills and everything off of this like 10-second commercial. So I went on Spotify and downloaded it and listened to the whole Black Messiah album. I started with Black Messiah, then I went back to Brown Sugar, and then the last album I listened to was Voodoo, which really blew my mind. Like, all of his albums blew my mind, but when I listened to Voodoo, I was like, wow, how does he know what I want in music? I didn't even know what I wanted in music until I heard his music, guys. So I just was binging on D'Angelo at that point and watching all of his videos and stuff like that. Okay, so now let's get into the albums, you guys. He only has 3 studio albums, and I know that's not a lot of albums, but he has made such an impact with those 3 albums. Something has to be said about a person who could just drop 3 albums and just change the game each time he drops an album. Like, none of his albums sound the same. I feel like all his albums could be considered different genres because it's something new with each album. And he also takes his time when he drops albums too, because he's not in a rush to just put anything out. But yeah, we're going to get into all that later, but I want to start with the first album, which is Brown Sugar. Yes, you guys, this album came out in 1995. This was actually the last album that I had to get to finish my collection. I got it last year, 2021, around June. and I got it from this website called Sound of Vinyl. It's actually a 2015 re-release. I'm so glad I finally got this album in my collection, you guys. This is technically the first neo-soul album ever. The first album ever coined with that term. So he's the first neo-soul artist technically. But yeah, this album is like a combination of jazz, R&B, soul, and gospel.
Let me tell you about this girl. Maybe I shouldn't. Met him in Philly, and her name was Brown Sugar. See, we been making love constantly. That's why my eyes are ashamed. Blood burgundy, the way that against the sun like any other way that I against the wind against the water, man, she won't listen. Brown sugar, bang. I guess high off of love, don't know how to be. Come on.
And yeah, D'Angelo produced and arranged this album while he was a teenager in Richmond, Virginia. On the back it said composed, written, and arranged by D'Angelo. Of course, Brown Sugar is like the first single from this album. He co-wrote it and produced it with Ali Shaheed Muhammad from A Tribe Called Quest. And a lot of people don't know that the song Brown Sugar is actually a song about weed. Kind of like a double entendre like Rick James did with Mary Jane. Another single from this album was Lady, which he did with Raphael Sadiq from Tony Tony Tony. Another popular song from this album was his rendition of Cruising by Smokey Robinson. You have to have talent to be able to redo old school songs like that, like classics like that, and just do them justice and put your own spin on it. So he definitely did that with that song. One of my favorites from this album is Jones in My Bones, which it kind of gives me like a hip-hop jazz kind of sound. This whole album slaps. I'm not just being biased because I love all of his music. Just go listen to D'Angelo's whole discography. You guys will not be disappointed. I want to show you guys what it looks like. It came on white wax and this black sticker. So yeah, I'm super happy about this purchase. This is one of my favorite purchases of 2021. So his second album is, of course, Voodoo, which came out in 2000, 5 years after Brown Sugar. That's probably why I didn't know much about D'Angelo, because he was on a hiatus like most of my life. I'm disappointed in my family for not putting me onto this album at an early age. Like, I really couldn't believe that this album was really real when I heard it, because I'm like, how can an album be so good? As the album went on, it's like it kept getting better and better, and I'm like, albums like that really exist? Like, you can't be real. If I could describe my music taste in one word, it would be voodoo, okay? I would say this album is very funky, bluesy, spiritual. It really reminds me of the like old black spirituals from way back. Just listen to how he layered his harmonies, guys, and go back and listen to like a real spiritual from back in the day. Like, he was definitely channeling the ancestors with this album. He also produced all of the songs on this album as well, of course with the exception of 2 songs, which Devil's Pie he did with DJ Premier, and Untitled How Does It Feel with, again, Raphael Sadiq. They are like a dynamic duo. The way Raphael Sadiq played the guitar on that song, like, oh my gosh, you guys have to go listen to that. D'Angelo did the drums as well as the other instruments. Raphael did the guitars, the bass guitar and the regular guitar. D'Angelo was definitely going for a different sound on this album. He actually recorded this album at Electric Lady, which was Jimi Hendrix's studio. And you can definitely tell Jimi Hendrix was a big influence on the making of this album. Like I said, he takes a lot of inspiration from the greats, but he like doubles down on it with his own unique style.
Yeah, I know you love me cause I'm funky cause I say it loud. I know you love me cause I'm funky cause I know you love me cause I'm funky cause I know you love me cause I'm funky cause I oh, chicken grease. Yeah. Oh, chicken grease. Oh, chicken grease. Oh, chicken grease. I know you love me cause I'm funky cause I know you love me cause I'm funky cause I know you love me cause I'm funky cause I know you love me cause I'm funky cause
He had some of the greatest musicians playing on this album. He had Spanky Alford on the guitar, Pino Palladino on the bass, Roy Hargrove on the horns, Questlove on the drums. Actually, his band for the Voodoo tour were called the Soultronics. Of course, they had Questlove and all those people I just named. But he also had Anthony Hamilton on the background, James Porter from The Roots on keys when he was up dancing and stuff. Oh, and if you guys ever watch any of D'Angelo's live shows, you know that on the Brown Sugar tour, he was more, you know, chill. He was sitting behind the piano and he barely got up to dance. He would walk around the stage a few times and then sit back at the piano. But you know, on the Voodoo tour, he was wild. He was up dancing, jumping around, breaking equipment. I feel like the Voodoo tour was one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. But if you guys have ever seen D'Angelo live, please let me know down in the comment section. This album is a double LP and it came on white wax and the stickers are black and tan. It also came with this little sheet that has the lyrics on there as well as like some reviews and behind the scenes pictures on there. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. If anybody wants some recommended songs, I would recommend you go listen to the whole album. But if you just want a few songs to start off, I would say start off with Send It On, How Does It Feel, or One More Again. Okay, so now we're moving on to the last album, which is his most recent album as of now, as of January 2022. Hopefully we'll get another D'Angelo album soon. D'Angelo and the Vanguard's Black Messiah. This album came out in December of 2014, almost 15 years after Voodoo. So for this album, he named his band the Vanguard. Still has a lot of the same musicians as the Soultronics band from the Voodoo album. Pino Palladino, Roy Hargrove, Questlove, of course. And he also added 2 guitarists to this album, which is Isaiah Sharkey, one of the greatest guitarists of all time in my opinion, and Jesse Johnson from Prince's group called The Time. If you guys don't know Jesse Johnson, definitely go check him out. Black Messiah is totally different from Voodoo and Brown Sugar. Definitely a lot more guitars, definitely a louder sound. If I could describe this album, I would definitely call it funk rock, not neo soul, but a lot of people consider it neo soul just because D'Angelo is like the first neo-soul artist. So as you can tell by the title of this album and the album artwork, this album was definitely made to be a voice for the Black Lives Matter movement, just like Curtis Mayfield was for the Black Panther movement. Just a continuation of our voices being heard and just addressing what needs to be addressed, okay? He definitely did that with this album with songs like The Charade, 1000 Depths, Till It's Done. It's a very inspiring and uplifting album, but that's not all this album has. This album actually has love songs in it as well as dance songs, funky songs you can groove to. On the back it says produced by D'Angelo, of course. And one of my favorite songs from this album, which is I love the whole album, but I wanted to mention The Door because it's very unique. When I tell you that song is organic, I mean it's organic, you guys. He made a whole song whistling, clapping his hands, and stomping his feet. That's why I love D'Angelo so much. He can just take the simplest form of music and just make it sound so advanced and so good, you guys. So definitely go check out The Door. A lot of people think it's like a country song. I actually thought it was a blues song, but it actually got confirmed to me that it is definitely a quartet gospel song. So yeah, I love that song, The Door, especially the live version. Like I said earlier, really stood out and gave me chills. It always gives me chills when I listen to that song.
When you touch me there, when you make me tingle, when the laughter's mingle, I'm really in love with you, baby. I'm really in love. I'm not an easy man to understand, you feel me? But girl, you're patient with me.
That was one of the first songs that made me become a D'Angelo fan because the hair on my arm just stood up when I heard it. And the funkiest song on this album is Sugar Daddy. It starts off with James Gatson. If you guys don't know James Gatson, he was like a famous drummer from the 70s. I think he did a lot of stuff for Bill Withers. So Sugar Daddy just starts off with James Gatson just playing lap drums. He just slapping his legs with his hands, and they use that as the drums in the song. But yeah, this is what the inside looks like. I know you guys probably seen this on my channel before. I actually got this album in 2015 as well on D'Angelo's website. It's a double LP and everything is black, including the sleeve and the sticker as well as the wax. The booklet that has the lyrics in the insides as well as pictures of D'Angelo. Here's a picture of Dee and Jesse Johnson on the cover with their guitars on stage, which I freaking love. I used to have this on my wall. I got one single, and it is a single from Voodoo. It is the song Left and Right, which is featuring Redman and Method Man. Method Man from the Wu-Tang Clan, of course. You guys know who that is. You guys know Redman. He's a legendary lyricist. I just love the art on this freaking single. It's just super neat, you guys. It looks like it could have been taken from the How Does It Feel video. But I had to get this because Left and Right is one of my favorite songs.
Singing dancing right now. I done made the bed and chick on out. If you do, I say you belong. If this dream to be free, I can take it there, just follow me. Baby, I won't, hell no, I won't see you wrong. Seems right to me, you just don't wanna fix it perfectly. Baby, I do. So what you want, baby?
You guys know Left and Right is just so funky. I actually got this album from Mercari. It was not that much. I think it was no more than like $10 to $12. So yeah, had to snatch this up when I saw it on there. But it says it has the radio edit, the explicit edit, as well as the instrumental. It also has Untitled How Does It Feel, as well as an acapella version. And another thing I want to show you guys, you probably already seen in one of my last videos, is this Sling Bomb 1 album, which only has 3 songs on it. And D'Angelo is on the very first song on this album with Erykah Badu and so many other great musicians. But it came out in January of 2020, and it was a vinyl only release. And you had to get it in a certain amount of time. So I got it as soon as I saw it on his website. And that is all for my D'Angelo vinyl collection, you guys. I actually have a few of his CDs. I actually have Brown Sugar on CD, which is in my car right now. And I also have this live album by D'Angelo on CD, which is called Live at the Jazz Cafe. I cannot wait to get this on vinyl. It sounds amazing as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope I inspired you to go listen to some of your D'Angelo records if you have any. And if you haven't listened to D'Angelo, I hope I inspired you to go listen to him and do your research on him. He is a freaking legend. He takes his time to release his albums, but still, each time he drops them, he gives you something special that you can just listen to forever. His albums do not get old at all. Every time I listen to his album, there's something new that I discover or learn from it. So that is what I love in an artist, you guys. That is why he's my favorite of all time. And yeah, guys, if you guys want more videos on D'Angelo, let me know down in the comment section, because your girl will do a video on each album, okay? So I will be doing a vinyl tag on my next video, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.